This is Bill from My Fine Homestead, and today is a nice rainy day. Fields are getting water, so we're going to kind of do some maintenance today. I got this bale feeder from my sister. She had it, and it's kind of falling apart. It needs all new bolts, and it's bent in a few spots. So I went to the hardware store and got new bolts for it. So we're going to put this together, and then like that piece that's bent, we're going to go ahead and bend that straight. It'll be easier to bend that straight once I have it all bolted together. So I'm going to go ahead and start bolting it together. And then that'll be the last one that I do. And then the weight of the bale feeder will help hold it down for me to straighten it. So we went, like I said, to the hardware store, got all new carriage bolts to put all this together. So for animals like this, you want to go ahead and have the rounded part on the outside because they're going to be pushing on this quite a bit. That's why they end up busting, especially if you don't end up putting all the bolts in. That's kind of a bad thing. When you get these, if you buy one of these bale feeders new, they usually come with the bolts. They have a flat head so the animal doesn't, get gouged on it, and then these square heads get pulled into the hole, so then they're not going to spin when you pull them in. That's what holds them, so you don't have to get anything on this side to hold it. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to put this one together too. We'll try to get the bottom one first. I might have got a little bit too big of bolts. They're a little bit of a tight fit. But I thought, seeing that this was already used, those holes might be reamed out a little bit more. We have an older bale feeder, another one that we were going to try to fix up, that the holes are reamed out so far that actually the bolts are starting to go through it. So that's why I thought maybe use a little bit bigger bolt on these. Now that one we're not gonna, I just want to get enough of a thread on there that it's not gonna pull back out again. Yeah, see, that's a little bit of a tighter fit than what I probably should have. But seeing we're gonna have cows pushing on these, I'd rather have a little bit bigger bolts. If I had to, I would go through and take a drill and drill these out just a little bit more. But I think we're going to be okay. They'll pull through. So we're going to go ahead and just get that one started, and then we'll come up and do the top one. That one might actually have to be drilled out a little bit because I don't want to mess up the threads on there. So as we got some of these pieces together, we realized that for our round bales, actually 3 of these would make a better size for us. So we're taking the one out that's kind of busted. It's missing some of these. We might have issues with caps and stuff coming in with those missing. So we're just going to take this piece and actually put on it. So we already took that piece back out. So this is about the right size that we would need for our round bales. So we're going to go ahead and just do that. We're going to go ahead. I started kind of reaming these out to make the bolts fit already. So when you do this, you want to start pretty slow, and then you can just kind of turn it. When you already got kind of a weird hole like that already, a lot of times it's really easy to get your bit caught and bust your bit. So I'm just kind of doing it real slow on the slowest speed. So now we'll go ahead and This should fit a lot easier, then it won't mess up my threads. Yeah, that goes in there a lot easier to work with when you're not fighting the threads, plus trying to bend the metal back into shape. Okay, so we got them. I'll come back and tighten all them later. Let's go over and we'll put this other one on. Then we can put the pipe on that other piece and go ahead and, so I'll go ahead and just kind of ream these out a little bit if I need to. See how the drill catches. Maybe I could. So I'm gonna put that in the drill and hopefully that one. That doesn't take much. It might actually be mainly like the rust that's kind of holding it too. So I like using a washer and a lock washer. That way the washer doesn't end up going down through. As it gets worn out, that can kind of cut in. So tighten all these up now. The only bad thing about these carriage bolts is they're not really hard bolts, so they are kind of easy to strip, even though they're a 3/8 inch. You know, I don't want to put too much torque on them. But seeing there's 3 of them at every joint, I'm pretty confident that our cows won't be able to bust them. You know, if we had bigger, like right now we do have a bull here that seems to be a little bit rougher on the Bale feeders than what our Jersey cows are. I suppose that's just being a bull. But the tighter you have them, if they can't move, they can't wear out. So you want, that's why I put the lock washers on, so they don't loosen up and then they don't have any play in them to move around. Okay, now that we got that, I'm going to put a pipe on this and try to bend this back into place. So there, that should be enough. And that should help hold. Wow, pretty stiff stuff there. Okay, so now Liam, if you can get back where you were at, and Aiden, you can come over here to keep this side from picking up. You stand in there. Okay, we got it. So does that look about right? That looks pretty close. I don't know if I'm gonna have to come out a little too. Yeah, I'll have to bring that out. That might not be quite as hard. Maybe Aiden, if you can stand over on that side. I can kind of see, I want it to come at the same. That's it. That's pretty good. See how close we are. Perfect. Put one on the inside, one on the outside. So, we we got that bent back into shape. We're gonna go ahead and put one on the inside. I might do the bottom ones first again because it might be easier to move that top one than it is the bottom one. So with this being smaller, we're not gonna have hopefully the cows pushing on it quite so much. As they eat the bale down from the inside, they have to reach to get to the center of the bale. So then they start pushing on it a lot more. But with this being a little bit narrower around, I think it's gonna help with the pushing, that they'll be able to reach the inside a little bit better. So that's still gonna be pretty tough right there to get that. Okay, maybe that's enough to get the washer on. Don't know if I can get the lock washer on too. All I need to get is that started. And I think I got it. So now there's not a lot of thread on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue to squeeze this while I tighten it and just try to bring it together. So there, I almost have a whole nut worth of thread on there. So I don't need to squeeze it anymore, and then I can just kind of pull this together. So that's pretty tight. So what, I don't know if I didn't really explain what a lock washer is. A lock washer is a washer that's cut and split. So there's always pressure on your nut. This is always spring steel. So it's always trying to go back to this shape. So when you get it pressed down flat, like that is, there's always pushing on this nut, so it's harder to get that nut loose. So that's what a lock washer does. Now I've had, these are pretty much, when you say a lock washer in the United States, this is what a lock washer is. I have a BCS, which is a rototiller, is a walk behind tractor, and that their lock washers are actually like flat washers that are bent, and what that does is the same thing. It always keeps the tension on the bolt. I've never seen those before until I got a BCS. A BCS is actually made in Italy, and that must be how they do their lock washers, at least for that company. I've never really seen those anywhere else, but they do work the same way. That way you don't need two pieces on here. Your regular flat washer is also your lock washer. So they're bent. So instead of having a flat washer like this, it would be bent in a little bit of a crescent shape, kind of bent that way. And then you just put that on, and then put your nut on and tighten it up, which kind of seems pretty nice to only have one thing to try to hold on there when you're trying to get the nut on. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I got it all tightened down. It has all the bolts in. We could come through and cut these bolts off, but I think I'm just going to leave them. They're not sticking out that far. I didn't get real long ones. So we're going to go ahead, get the skid steer fired up, and take this out and get a bale. So we'll go ahead and get this loaded into the back of the truck, and then Aiden can go ahead and take it out to the field. that ratchet strap. The ratchet strap here so it can't roll up into the windshield. Oh, it's still hooked up over there. Doing the fence like this, that fence is actually like here. So once we roll over it with the metal feeder, we're not going to want to touch the feeder, so we're going to have to push it pretty fast and hope that it goes all the way over, and then we won't get a shock. So ready? 1, 2, 3. The knife, he'll come in once we get this cut and dump it in. Okay. You tape it? Yeah. Want to just throw me the knife? wants to run through right between the truck. So that was just us. We got the bale feeder out there. They seem to be enjoying the hay already. One thing, like when we crossed over the fence, we brought out the cement blocks and just set on top so we could go through. That way I don't have to have a gate out here. And works nice with the skid steer to just be able to drop it on end like that. That way they can eat all the way around, and whatever falls off actually falls off into the feeder. So, this is Bill from My Fine Homestead, and thanks for watching.